Incredible blind date. Millionaire CEO's autistic son's heartwarming connection exposed by one awkward moment. Alex Thompson stood against the wall at the bustling community center, heart racing, as laughter and music filled the air. The event was yet another attempt by his father, Greg, to merge their worlds. A world where Alex often felt like a ghost, like he was drowning amidst the glittering expectations of success. The soft beeping of his watch reminded him to breathe, but the pressure weighed heavy on his chest. "Come on, Alex. You can't just stand there." Greg's voice echoed. "You need to network." Greg's suit pressed against his broad shoulders. He exuded what success looked like, a stark contrast to Alex's tattered hoodie and knotted fingers. Alex's blue eyes darted around the room, feeling the weight of judgment with every glance. But amid the frenzy, a sudden calm settled when he learned he'd be meeting someone new. Greg's reluctance faded as he revealed the arranged blind date. Sam Brooks, a waitress from a modest diner nearby. Alex's heart felt lighter at the thought of meeting someone without glittering edges, someone who'd know about the struggles of everyday life. A week later, the diner buzzed with familiar chatter, the sizzling grill, the clinking of cutlery, but Sam's warm smile made Alex's world tilt. They sat at a table tucked in the corner, both nervously fiddling with their drinks. "So, what's your favorite book?" she asked, genuine curiosity spilling from her eyes. The connection was raw and real, like finding a spark in a dark room, and Alex could feel his defenses lowering. When he spoke about his love for science fiction, Sam leaned in, nodding animatedly. His excitement blurred the lines that usually confined him. It was their moment, a quiet rebellion against the imposing structure of expectations. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But when Greg discovered this burgeoning friendship, his expression soured. "Alex, I don't understand why you're getting involved with someone like her. You need connections, not distractions." The tension crackled in the air like static. The disparity between their worlds grated against Alex's heart, like nails on a chalkboard. Tensions began to flare as Greg questioned Sam's worth, a manifestation of his own insecurities. But Alex felt a fire burn within him. This was his life, his choice. Sam was more than a distraction. She made him feel alive. Yet, his father's pressure echoed incessantly, demanding compliance. Just as things began to spark hope, everything crashed down when Sam's mother fell ill. "You can't be there for her. That's too much for someone from your background," Greg shouted, the weight of his stubborn bias crushing Alex's spirit. Torn between family loyalty and love for Sam, Alex's chest tightened, breath shallow as he realized that this fight wasn't just about him. It was about love, acceptance, and redefining what success really meant. With emotions swirling, Alex faced his father for what felt like the first time. "Love is what matters. I won't let your fears push me away from someone who cares about me." Silence enveloped them both, and Alex felt both brave and vulnerable, standing firm against the world that both men inhabited. And as Alex peered into his father's conflicted eyes, both unspoken questions lingered heavy in the air. Could they confront their biases? Could they really bridge the gaps between love and expectations? The weight of that moment swirled with uncertainty, leaving Alex poised on the edge of an emotional abyss, desperate for resolution. The next few days were an emotional whirlwind for Alex. He couldn't stop replaying the confrontation with his father in his mind. The silence that followed his declaration felt like an avalanche, burying both of their emotions deeper into the ground. Each morning, he awoke with a heaviness in his chest, worrying about Sam and her situation. He wanted to reach out. He needed to be there for her as she dealt with her mother's illness. Finally, on a cool Saturday afternoon, with his nerves in a knot, he decided to visit the diner. As he walked through the door, The familiar sounds greeted him, the hum of conversations, the clatter of tables, the sizzle from the grill. And there she was. Sam stood at the counter, her dark hair pulled back and a clean apron wrapped around her waist. She looked like a ray of sunshine in that diner, even through the haze of worry. "Hey you," she said, brightening the room as her eyes spotted him. They sparkled with a mix of relief and warmth when she noticed Alex and his hesitant smile. "Hey," he replied, his heart racing as he approached her, determined to be a source of support. "I wasn't sure if you were going to come by." "Everything okay?" she asked, her voice dripping with genuine concern. "Not really," he admitted, the weight on his heart evident as he glanced down at the floor. "I've been thinking about you and your mom. How is she doing?" Sam sighed, her smile faltering for a moment. "She was in the hospital for a couple of days. But she's back home now. It's tough, you know? I hate seeing her like this." "Take a breath," Alex thought. "If you need anything like help around the house or just someone to talk to, I'm here." Her eyes widened in surprise, but the corners of her mouth slowly lifted again. "Really? You'd do that for me? I mean, not that I doubt you, but of course," he interrupted, his voice firm. "I want to. It's stupid to let anything stop me from being your friend or more." Her breath caught, and for a moment, she seemed lost for words. Another customer called for her, breaking the spell, but Sam was still staring at him like he'd just handed her the keys to the universe. "Thank you, Alex. That means a lot." They exchanged smiles, something warm and fragile passing between them. As the afternoon wore on, they shared quick laughs and deep conversations, losing track of the time. The diner, with its comforting chaos, felt like their sanctuary. However, a sudden thought pulled Alex from the moment just as he watched her laugh. What if Greg found out? What would he say? Would he crush this fragile connection? The anxiety coursed through him like ice water. "I should probably head home. Dad he might worry," Alex said hesitantly. Sam's expression shifted, a flicker of disappointment crossing her face, but she quickly masked it with understanding. "Yeah, I get it. Family's important," she replied softly, though Alex could see those familiar shadows of concern creeping into her gaze. "Hey, maybe we can talk later? I want to check in on you and your mom," he suggested, needing to feel more of her presence. "Sure," she said, determination shining through. "I'll text you." As he left the diner, Alex felt lighter, yet that nagging feeling of uncertainty remained, and the ambiguity of his connection with Sam kept gnawing at him. Could he stand against his father's intimidating presence? Would he have the strength to follow his own heart? What if the whispers of doubt drowned out the laughter they shared? Alex took a deep breath and resolved that he wouldn't let fear rule his heart. Not anymore. As he stepped into the crisp air, a text came through. "How about dinner tomorrow?" His pulse quickened. He felt hope blooming anew, but now doubt began to creep back in. Would he have to choose between Sam and his father again? And how could he possibly balance both? The stakes just got higher, and he was only getting started. The morning sun streamed through Alex's bedroom window, warming his face and casting playful shadows on the walls. But sleep had evaded him again. He tossed and turned, his mind racing with thoughts of Sam and the uncertainty that loomed just ahead. The text from her lingered in his mind. How about dinner tomorrow? It was a simple question, yet it felt monumental. They both were standing on the edge of something significant. Easy laughter and empty chatter floated into his head, reminding him of the moments they shared at the diner. But his father's stern face, clouded with disapproval, loomed even larger. Alex lay there, staring at the ceiling. What would his dad say if he learned about his feelings for Sam? Would he shut him down, throw a fit, or just brush it off like it meant nothing at all? He couldn't bear the thought of disappointing his father again. Yet the weight of ignoring what he truly felt was heavy. Realizing he couldn't hide from his thoughts forever, he eventually got up and prepared for the day. Breakfast was usually an afterthought in their home, but this morning he struggled to eat, his stomach clenching at the worry swirling in his mind. Finally, as he slipped into his jacket and grabbed the car keys, something deep within him ignited. He pulled out his phone to text Sam, the urge to reach out overpowering all of his worries. "Hey you. What time should I pick you up for dinner? After a minute of waiting nervously, the reply came, sending a flutter through his chest. How about around 6? Can't wait. The hours dragged on, but as 6 o'clock approached, a renewed sense of excitement bubbled inside of Alex. He decided to spruce up a bit, maybe wear his favorite blue shirt that made his hazel eyes pop. When he pulled up to Sam's house, his heart raced. Her mom's situation weighed heavily on her, and Alex wanted to make tonight's special something to lift her spirits, even if just for a few hours. He knocked, each second stretching like an eternity. Sam opened the door, a radiant smile breaking across her face. She wore a simple floral dress that made her look effortlessly beautiful. Hey, she greeted, her voice brightening the dim entryway. Wow, you look amazing, he said genuinely, feeling his pulse quicken. Thanks, you look great too, she replied, a blush creeping into her cheeks. They quickly fell into easy conversation as they headed to the car. After a short drive, they arrived at a cozy Italian restaurant nestled in a quiet corner of town. It was the perfect spot, warm lights and laughter spilled from inside, encouraging connections. As they settled into their booth, Alex watched her hands circle the menu. What do you think? She asked, excitement dancing in her eyes. I think I'll trust your taste. You order, I'll follow your lead. He grinned, feeling a warmth spread through him. The laughter flowed freely over plates of pasta and shared breadsticks. Sam's worries seemed to melt away, if only for the moment. They talked about everything: school, dreams, life, and Alex caught glimpses of her vibrant spirit shining through the shadows of her worries. But just as he thought they were in a safe bubble, a text from his father buzzed in his pocket, pulling him into a pit of anxiety once again. Where are you? I was worried. A simple message, but it dripped with disappointment and impatience. Alex's heart sank, the carefree evening suddenly dampening under the weight of expectation. Everything okay? Sam asked, sensing his shift in mood. Yeah, it's fine, he hesitated. Should he tell her? Would it affect their night? They continued to eat and laugh, but tension crept into the air, and the clock ticked ominously toward the moment he couldn't escape. He wanted to be there for Sam, but he didn't know how to manage it all. As dessert arrived, he looked into her sparkling eyes. Sam, I really want to be honest. But before he could continue, her phone buzzed, and as she checked the screen, her smile faded into concern. It's my mom. Their eyes locked, a world of unsaid things swirling between them. Would this be the moment where everything changed? In that charged silence, Alex realized that life was a series of choices, each step leading them further into the heart of uncertainty. What lay ahead was unknown, but one thing was certain: they couldn't hide from both their fears and feelings forever. The tension hung between them, palpable and heavy. Alex watched as the flicker of worry clouded Sam's features. It was the familiar look of someone caring deeply, and it struck him like a bolt of electricity. He wanted to reach out, to pull her closer into the warmth of shared laughter and comfort. But the world outside their little bubble was waiting, heavy with responsibility. Do you need to take it? He asked gently, his heart beating faster at the thought of her stepping away from him. Sam bit her lip, uncertainty etched in her brow. I should just to check if everything's okay. She stood up, her casual elegance now overshadowed by a quicksilver sense of urgency. As she walked away, his own unease multiplied. His father's text loomed larger now, each word echoing in his mind. He had wanted this night to be perfect for Sam, a momentary refuge from her reality. Instead, they were both sliding back into the weight of their separate lives, the walls creeping back around them. He could see her on the phone, the corners of her mouth tightening. Their moment had felt so close until the world skewed back in place, ripping apart what they had built over dinner. He swirled his spoon in the last remnants of chocolate mousse, bitterness creeping in along with the sweetness. When she returned, her expression was subdued. My mom is still in the same condition. They had to change her medication. It's just hard to see her like this. Her voice faltered, and Alex could feel the crack in her heart from miles away. Do you want to go? He asked, his instincts kicking in to shield her from more pain. No, She snapped almost too quickly, her eyes widening in protest. I want to stay. I need a break. I want this. Her declaration cut through the unease, sparking a hint of warmth in the chill of the moment. Okay, he replied softly, wanting to reassure her without stifling her truth. They settled back into an easier conversation. Yet, the conversation felt like two tightrope walkers inching closer to each other, bulbs of uncertainty flashing beneath them. Let us make a pact, Alex suggested, trying to light up the night. For the rest of the evening, we just focus on us. No phones. Just he paused, searching for the right words. Us being real. Sam looked at him, surprise washing over her face. And for the first time tonight, he saw a flicker of relief in her eyes. You're on. They returned to their light banter, weaving in and out of deeper topics like seasoned players in a scripted dance. Laughter bubbled up and laughter melted tension, only to have it occasionally plunge back into serious discussions about dreams, fears, and the uncertainty that life often threw their way. The night began to feel whole again. As they strolled out of the restaurant, the moonlight cast an ethereal glow over them. The air felt different, less heavy. With each step toward the car, Alex felt a change within himself. He was less haunted by his father's scrutiny, less burdened by expectation. Once they reached the car, he turned to her, determination burning in his gaze. Sam, before he could confess the truth that pulsed in his heart. Her phone buzzed again, cutting through the air like a knife. Sorry, it's from my sister. She glanced at the screen and her face shifted from anticipation to alarm. Oh no, what now? Alex's heart dropped. Each piece of her family situation was like a puzzle he couldn't help her solve. And the uncertainty left them both balancing on the edge of a cliff. Everything okay? He asked, his voice low, leaning toward her side of the car. It wasn't supposed to be like this, she murmured, eyes darting away into the night, brimming with untapped emotion. As Sam's voice faded, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that this was the moment where everything could change for better or worse. Would they both slip back into their realities? Or could this be the beginning of a new understanding? He held his breath, waiting to see the choice she would make next. What would she decide when the world pulled at the seams? Would their connection stand firm or would it fray? In the face of fear, Sam's thumb hovered over her phone screen, her breath hitching in her throat. The alert felt like a storm cloud ready to burst, and in that moment, Alex could see her battling against an internal tide. They had an emergency meeting at the hospital, she said, the words spilling out in a rush. We need to go there now. A desperate edge crept into her voice, twisting his insides. All right, he said slowly, trying to mask his own panic. I'll drive. They hopped into the car, the silence pressing down harder than the weight of expectation. Alex turned the key in the ignition, letting the engine's roar fill up the space between them. He could see Sam's reflection in the rearview mirror. Her face was pale, her eyes distant. Sam, he started, his heart pounding, are you sure you want to go? I mean, we could know. The words sliced through the air like jagged glass. She closed her eyes for a moment, then exhaled sharply. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to snap. I don't want to keep pretending everything is okay when it's not. Her honesty hung there, raw and unguarded. Alex nodded, trying to process. You don't have to go through this alone, you know. I know, she replied softly. But it's complicated. I don't care about complicated. Care about you. The urgency in his voice caught them both off guard, the weight of his admission settling over them like a warm blanket. He could almost see her walls begin to crack. For a heartbeat, their eyes locked. It was a fleeting moment, gravity pulling them into an orbit of unspoken truths. But it broke as quickly as it formed when Sam's phone buzzed once more. Not now, she whispered to herself, fingers trembling as she grabbed the phone again. Can I help? Alex asked, reaching out to touch her hand. She stiffened at first but then relaxed, grounding herself in his warmth. Just reply for me, please. Without another word, she handed him the phone, and his heart raced as he read the incoming message, a pang of fear gripping him. Alex quickly typed, on our way. Please update me if anything changes. He hit send, handing it back to her. knowing this wasn't just about words but the promise of support. Sam's breath sharpened. "Thanks," she said, her voice cracking with emotion. "You always know what I need. Can you feel that?" He pressed, his tone softening again. "It's okay to lean on me. Whatever happens, we face it together." As they drove, the city lights blurred past, dancing with the rhythm of uncertainty. Alex felt the weight of their unspoken bond deepen with each mile they covered. "I just wish it didn't come to this," Sam said quietly, gazing out the window. "I never thought I'd be here again." "Where?" he asked, striving to understand the path she was on. "Back at the hospital. Feels like I'm running in circles." "It's okay to feel lost sometimes, Sam. But this time you're not navigating it alone." She turned, vulnerability swirling in her gaze. "Thank you for saying that." Her phone buzzed again. Panic flickered across her face, but just as quickly, steely determination set in. "We need to go. Right now." Alex's pulse quickened. This was the moment that could make or break everything. "Let us get you there. I'm right here." As they neared the hospital, an imposing figure loomed ahead, a reminder that change was outside their control. A secret had been left unspoken, waiting to crash over them like the tide retreating from the shore. What fragile truths would surface in these dim hospital corridors? Would they emerge connected, or would the weight of reality tear them apart? As they pulled into the hospital parking lot, a knot tightened in Sam's stomach. The neon lights flickered like a heartbeat, pulsating against the heavy evening sky. Each breath felt laborious, weighted with the memories of past losses. Alex parked the car and turned to her, his eyes steady. "You ready?" "Not even a little bit," she admitted, biting her lip. "But I have to be there for them. For him." "Then let us go." He opened the door and stepped into the cool night, the crisp air filling his lungs. They walked side by side, the silence heavy but companionable. Once inside, the sterile smell of antiseptic greeted them, mingling with the unshakable tension that hung in the air. Sam's heart raced as she approached the reception desk, her hands anxiously twisting the fabric of her sweater. "Hi, we're here for the emergency meeting," she started, her voice barely above a whisper. The receptionist nodded, her face devoid of expression. "Room 204. Just take the elevator to the second floor." Then left. "Thank you." Sam took a deep breath, and with Alex by her side, she moved to the elevator. It felt like a slow descent into an uncertain abyss. The doors slid shut, isolating them from the world outside. "Hey," Alex said softly, nudging her shoulder with his. "Whatever happens in there, it's okay to fall apart." A small smile broke through Sam's cloud of worry. "You really think that's an option?" "Absolutely. But I hope you know I'll be right there holding the pieces together." The elevator dinged, and the doors opened to an unfamiliar world of waiting chairs and muted conversations. They stepped out into the hallway, where the air felt alive with worry. As they walked towards room 204, Sam's thoughts spiraled. Would this meeting change everything? Would they make it through? Each question stacked inside her like a pressure cooker, ready to burst. When they reached the door, she hesitated. What if I can't handle the news?" "You're stronger than you think," Alex replied, his voice a steady anchor. "You've faced this before." She nodded, fighting back tears. "It's just so hard." "Then let us face the hard together." He reached for the door handle and paused, giving her one last reassuring look before he held the door open. Inside, the room was filled with hushed tones. Sam's breath caught in her throat. Faces she recognized everywhere, friends. Family held the weight of unspoken grief. Her heart sank further as she took in the scene. "Sam," an aunt called softly, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "We're so glad you're here." "Where's Josh?" Sam asked, forcing the words past the tightness in her chest. "In the back. They're trying to stabilize him." An unsettling silence fell, filled only by the distant beeping of machines and murmurs of nurses. The gravity of the moment crashed over Sam. She had prepared herself for this, or thought she had. Now, standing amidst all this heartbreak, she felt utterly lost. Alex stepped closer, squeezing her hand. "You can do this." Even if it doesn't feel like it's going to be okay right now. Just then, a doctor entered, her expression unreadable. Sam's heart thundered in her chest as all eyes turned towards her. Sam, the doctor said, acknowledging her presence. We need to talk about Josh's condition. Tension wound through the air tightly, and Sam felt like she was standing at the edge of a cliff, the ground crumbling beneath her feet. Would the news bring them together or rip them apart? Would connections forged in hope come to light, or would despair drown them in darkness? The truth waited to be uncovered, heavy and undeniable, and Sam felt the earth shift beneath her feet as she stood on the precipice of unthinkable change. What would happen next? Sam, we need to talk about Josh's condition. The doctor's words hung in the air, sharp and heavy like a stone dropped into a still pond. All Sam could see were the doctor's lips moving, but the sound faded to a dull roar, muffled by the chaos in her mind. Please, Sam managed, forcing her eyes to stay locked on the woman before her. Just tell me, what's wrong with him? The doctor sighed, glancing around the room before focusing back on Sam. Josh's situation is critical. He sustained severe injuries from the accident. We're doing everything we can, but we need to be prepared for all possibilities. Prepared for all possibilities. Those words echoed in Sam's head, thin as glass yet sharp enough to cut. She felt herself sway, and Alex's grip tightened around her wrist. He understood, the way he always did, the way he had to her since they were kids. Can we see him? Sam asked, her voice trembling, fighting against the wave of panic rising within her. The doctor hesitated, a flash of sadness passing over her features. I'll arrange for you to go in shortly, but I advise you to brace yourself. He's in a fragile state. Sam nodded slowly, tears pooling in her eyes. She could still remember Josh's laughter, the way his eyes lit up when he was excited about something. The contrast with the image of him in a hospital bed was more than she could bear. One of her aunts moved closer, wrapping her arms around Sam and pulling her into a tight embrace. We're all here for him, and for you, she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. Sam felt warmth envelop her, but it barely penetrated the chill in her chest. They were all here, standing by, but that didn't lessen the feeling of helplessness. All these people, their faces shadows of worry, and she felt her heart breaking for them too. How could this happen? Sam murmured to Alex, her voice cracking. He was just here. Accidents happen. It's not fair, Alex replied, brushing a thumb under her eye, catching a tear. But we're not alone in this, remember? His words were a thin thread of hope, but it was all they had. The collective worry in the room swelled, a palpable thing that clung to their skin. They needed something, some sign that Josh would be okay, that the laughter would return. As they waited in the hushed tension of the room, the door opened, and a nurse entered, her eyes scanning the crowd. Sam? She called, her tone urgent yet gentle. Sam's heart raced. That's me. She moved forward, her body responding instinctively. Come with me. You can see Josh now. The nurse gestured for her to follow, and the world seemed to pause, realities colliding inside her. This was the moment she had both dreaded and yearned for. Alex squeezed her hand one last time, placing the power of reassurance into her palm. Sam nodded, the gesture filled with both gratitude and fear, and followed the nurse down the long, sterile hallway. With each step, her stomach churned. What would she find? Would he recognize her? Was he scared? As they approached the room, the heady smell of antiseptic wrapped around her, thickening the air. The nurse pushed the door open, revealing a world filled with beeping machines and the faint sound of hurried footsteps. Josh? She entered the room, her voice shaky. The sight before her pulled the breath from her lungs. He lay there, small and frail, surrounded by monitors that blinked in rhythm with his heartbeat. Hey, buddy, she whispered, her voice trembling like autumn leaves. But Josh's eyes remained closed, the steady beep of the machine the only evidence of his fight. In that moment, surrounded by wires and the weight of despair, Sam felt a surge of determination. She would be his light, no matter how dim it seemed right now. Sam? Alex's voice broke through her resolve, reminding her she wasn't alone. But as she looked at him in the doorway, question marks swimming in his eyes. Sam felt a familiar shiver cut through her. What was she supposed to say? How could she handle this? The truth was she didn't know if she could find the root of hope when the branches of despair stretched so far. Yet she also knew she wouldn't turn away. Together, she whispered, shaking off the cold of fear that wrapped around her heart. Because they had faced so much before, and this felt like the biggest fight yet. How could they navigate this dark tunnel and find the flicker of light at the end? That flicker was worth everything, and she just had to believe it existed. The nurse's voice cut through again, pulling Sam back. He can hear you, you know. Suddenly, Sam realized what she needed to do. She moved closer, taking Josh's hand in hers, cradling it as tears fell free from her eyes. Josh, it's Sam. I'm here. I love you, but would love be enough to reach him? Would it light the way back home, where laughter and memories awaited? As she leaned closer, a profound feeling swept through her. Just wake up, please, and then she felt it, a faint squeeze back from Josh's hand. Was it hope igniting? Did that brief touch hold the promise of more to come? In a world filled with uncertainty, the possibility of courage blossomed. What if this was the moment everything changed? As Sam held on, a question swirled in the air. Would love bridge the gap between despair and joy, pulling them back into the warmth of each other's arms? Sam's breath hitched in her throat as the warmth of Josh's squeeze pulsated through her fingers. It was as if he connected with her, even in his unconscious state. She couldn't help but cling to that tiny spark of hope. Josh, I'm right here, she whispered again, her heart racing. You've got to fight. You've come back from harder things. She thought about all those times they had navigated through life together. Every scrape and bruise, each laugh and tear. How many times had he helped her find her way back when life felt too heavy? Now it was her turn to be his light. Remember our road trips? Sam asked softly, her voice barely above a whisper. When we sing along to the radio, you're the best co-pilot I could ever ask for. The memories came flooding back so vividly. Road trips with the windows down, their voices carrying over the music. Josh had always been so alive then. Silence hung in the air, interrupted only by the rhythmic beeping of the machines. Sam's thoughts were a jumble of despair and determination. She was here, and she would talk to him about everything, the future they had planned, the dreams they shared. Remember that time we got lost on the way to the concert? You thought the best way was through a cornfield? A chuckle bubbled up, chased by fresh tears. It was a terrible idea, but we laughed until our sides hurt. The memories flowed like a river, carrying a sense of familiarity. In the doorway, Alex stood, his face a mixture of concern and admiration. Watching Sam, he marveled at how she found strength in vulnerability. He wanted to speak, to comfort her, but the words escaped him. Instead, he leaned against the wall, absorbing her warmth and spirit like a protective shadow. Josh, just squeeze my hand again if you can hear me, she urged, her eyes locked on his still face. Time felt suspended, each second stretching like a tightrope, and she was afraid of what that silence meant. And just like that, it happened again. A barely noticeable twitch, a slight movement that sent shockwaves of hope through her. Sam's heart soared, and she squeezed his hand tighter. Please, Josh, I need you back. We all do. The machines beeped in a steady rhythm, a gentle reminder of his fight, and Sam took a steadying breath. Mom and Dad are worried sick. They've been waiting outside for news. They miss you. I miss you, she continued, her voice thick. You can't leave us. You've got way too much to do, way too many adventures still waiting. She closed her eyes, the images of their future together bursting through her mind. Open skies, new places, laughter echoing in sunlit rooms. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the hallway, jolting them from the reverie. An orderly rushed by, his face a mask of urgency, followed by hurried footsteps. Sam's heart sank. The world outside was a whirlwind of chaos and worry, and yet here she was, desperate for connection, holding on to hope like a lifeline. Alex, what is going on? She asked, glancing back at her friend, who was already moving toward the door. Should we help? No, just stay with him, Alex said, his tone firm. He needs you right now. I'll check what's happening. As he stepped away, Sam refocused on Josh. It's just us now. You've got to hear me, buddy, but deep down, she felt the tension creeping back in. Was she foolish for believing his heart would respond? Would he fight for her as she fought for him? Josh's stillness hung heavy in the space between them, stretching out time with every beat of their hearts. And as she leaned in closer, whispering memories and dreams into the silence, Sam pondered if the tether of their love was strong enough to pull him back from the brink. Did love truly hold the power to heal? Then she felt his finger move again, just once. This time there was no mistaking it. Josh? Hope ignited, lifting her spirit higher. Is that you? And just then, in the deepest corners of both their hearts, something shifted. Did awareness begin to stir within him? As the moments stretched on, Sam felt the familiar tug of despair tighten. How far could hope go? Would it pull them both back from the edge? Or was she setting herself up for an even greater fall? In the uncertainty, one thought crystallized in her mind. Something was coming, a moment that could change everything. But would it be the hope she clung to, or something far more fragile? The room felt impossibly still. Sam held her breath, wondering if that fleeting movement meant Josh was waking up. Her heart raced, caught in a dizzying rush of hope and fear. Just one more sign. Please, she murmured, squeezing his hand tighter. She was desperate to know he was there with her. Minutes passed like hours. The beeping machines buzzed around her, but her world had narrowed to just Josh. Memories washed over her, bright moments that felt like lifelines in her darkening disquiet, riding bikes on sunlit trails, ice cream sticky on their fingers, the warmth of shared blankets during movie nights. But then, the sound of hurried footsteps reverberated louder than the machines. As if choreographed by fate, the door swung open, and in walked Dr. Patel, his face serious yet encouraging. Sam, can we speak for a moment? Not now, she snapped, her voice uncharacteristically sharp. Josh needs me. Just 1 minute, he insisted gently, holding up his hands in a placating gesture. There are some developments with his condition. We need to discuss the best course of action. With a reluctant sigh, she squeezed Josh's hand one last time. I'll be right back, she whispered, leaving her hopes hanging like ornaments on a tree, each one a fragile dream. She stepped into the hallway, where Alex leaned against the wall, his face grave. Is he okay? Sam asked, eyes darting between them. Dr. Patel thinks it might be time to consider a different approach, Alex replied, his voice lower than usual. He slid a worried glance toward the open door, where she had just left Josh. What do you mean? Her pulse quickened. More tests? He can't leave me. Not now. Dr. Patel's expression softened, sensing her panic. Sam, listen. We're monitoring his vital signs closely. There might be options we haven't explored, but we have to face the reality that he is fighting a hard battle. And no, she cut in sharply, blocking out everything he was saying. You don't understand. He is not just a patient. He is my best friend. My everything. There was a steely edge to her words that surprised even herself. Sam, Alex said, taking a step closer. We need to think this through. You want what's best for him, right? She shook her head fiercely. What I want is Josh back, she declared, her voice breaking. He is the one who taught me what it means to fight. I can't just sit here while you talk about options. Just let me back in with him. He needs me. Dr. Patel regarded her for a moment, his brow furrowing. You're right, Sam. He does need you. But we also need to ensure he is safe. We have to make decisions based on his condition. I don't care. She felt the energy swell within her, each beat of her heart echoing her determination. I'll be whatever he needs me to be. Bring me back to him. With a glance at Alex, the doctor relented. All right, but I'll be right there with you, just in case. As they rushed back into the room, Sam's heart pounded in her chest. She was ready to pour all her love and energy into him. Josh, she called out, rushing to his side again. Remember the trail by the lake? How the sunset painted the sky. Let us go back there someday. I'm waiting for you. I need you to come back. But just as she started to recount their countless adventures under the fading light, the monitors began to beep erratically. Doctor, what's happening? Sam felt her breath quicken, fear clawing at her throat. Josh's body was suddenly tense. Sam stepped back. Dr. Patel ordered sharply, moving swiftly as he adjusted the machines. No, I want tea, she screamed, tears streaming down her face. But desperation clung to her like a web, wrapping itself tightly around her heart. There was so much more to say, and now the storm clouds were closing in. Would Josh's heart hold out against the tide, or would she be forced to face a reality she didn't want to accept? As they hovered over him, Sam's voice cracked. Keep fighting, Josh. Please don't leave me now. In that moment, she realized what she had to do next. She had to fight, to scream back at the chaos rising up around them. But did she have that kind of strength? The machines hummed, the tension palpable, and Sam knew that this was her moment. The moment that could shatter everything or change it all for the better. Would he hear her? Would he rise up against the darkness once more? With a shattering beep, the monitors erupted into chaos. Sam's heart raced. What if this was the moment everything changed forever? The chaotic beeping surrounded them as Sam felt the air thicken with anxiety. She couldn't let fear drown out her voice. Josh, she cried, her heart echoing the urgency in every syllable. You can't leave me like this. Remember all the dreams we had? We were supposed to take that road trip, swim in the lake. You promised not to drive us into cornfields again. Tears poured down her cheeks, each drop a whisper of hope. Alex stood at her side, tense yet resolute, squeezing her shoulder as if to transfer all his belief into her. Stay with her, Josh. Stay with us, he shouted, his voice unwavering in the face of despair. They were a team now, battling against an invisible foe. In the eye of their emotional storm, clarity flickered for Sam. Perhaps this was what Josh needed, the connection, their history to guide him back. When I hit the jackpot in that trivia game, she murmured, desperate to ignite a memory, you were my biggest fan. I could always count on you. The machines seemed to shudder, the steady rhythm fluctuating with each desperate breath she drew. Her heart pounded in her chest. We've got to fight for one another like we always have, right? She leaned closer, tears pooling in her eyes, daring the darkness to retreat. That's what love is, fighting for what matters. And you matter. Suddenly there was a response. A faint yet distinct squeeze wrapped around her fingers, igniting a flicker of hope in the dim light of the room. Josh? She inhaled sharply as Alex stepped forward, hope bubbling in his chest. That's it. Buddy, come back. We're right here. The doctor's hands moved with urgency, a whirlwind of focus as he monitored the monitors, ready to intervene should the need arise. But Sam held her breath, refusing to let the fear seep back in. You're not alone, Josh. You never were, she urged. We can't finish this journey without you. We're waiting for you. Each word was a lifeline thrown into the tempest surrounding them, and a miracle began to unfold. Just when the shadows threatened to snuff out her resolve, the beeping changed steady but labored like a heartbeat, finding its rhythm in sync with her own. Hope washed over her like a warm tide. Beautiful, Alex shouted, his eyes wide with wonder. Yes, fighting. Keep talking to him, Sam. A whirlwind of emotions surged through Sam. Disbelief intermingled with tenacious hope as she dove deeper. Josh, remember how we used to dream about our future? We imagined our families together, all the places we still want to explore. You can't leave yet. We're meant to live life, to chase sunsets and laughter. But just then, the door rattled open again, this time bursting with Sam's parents, worry etched into every line of their faces. What's happening? Her mother breathed, eyes scanning the frantic scene. Is he okay? Josh is fighting, Sam exclaimed, tearing her gaze from her brother to see their parents. Determination swelled in her chest again, emboldened by the support of those around her. He just needs to know we're here. Her mother hurried to her side, taking Sam's other hand in hers. We're right here, Josh. We're fighting with you, she said, her voice quaking yet unwavering. "You're not alone, it's always been you and us against the world." And as if a light illuminated the room, the monitors responded further. The beeping became slow yet steady, like the pulse of a new beginning. Sam dared to breathe again, encouraged by the tide of love encircling them. "Look," Alex shouted, excitement bubbling through him. "Yes, responding to you. Keep pushing through." With every heartbeat, Sam felt the heaviness in her heart lift, urging the darkness away. "Josh," she whispered insistently, a quiet strength powering through. "Open your eyes and see how many people love you. You have more adventures waiting. I need you, buddy." And then, with a flutter of eyelids, she saw it a moment suspended in time. Astonished silence filled the room. "Just come back to us," she breathed, eyes wide. And then his eyes blinked open. Weakly, Josh focused them on Sam. She couldn't breathe. Hope shattered and rebuilt within her. In an instant, "Sam?" he croaked, his voice hoarse, like a pebble bounced back up from the depths of despair. "Yes, yes, it's me," she exclaimed, feeling tears of joy pour down her face. "We're all here. You're safe." The room erupted in a chorus of relief, family and friends rallying around, embracing one another in shared joy. They weren't just people. They were a collective heartbeat, each one of them a vital part of Josh's journey back to life. As Josh smiled faintly, color began to seep back into his face, hope blossoming like the sweetest spring flowers. I'm back," he murmured, blinking up at the sea of faces, each one floating close to the surface of reassurance. "Yes," Sam cried, her heart soaring high. "You're home. We've got so much to catch up on." And in that moment, the battle against fear transformed into a celebration of love that healed the wounds of worry, love that fought for every heartbeat, love that would hold them all together through life's chaos. As they tightened their bonds, grateful for this second chance, Sam marveled at how every heart lifted them closer. This was the moment they had fought for, a shared lesson that echoed through each of them. Even in the darkest of times, love and connection had the power to ignite hope again. "Let us go home," Josh whispered, taking Sam's hand again, and this time, she knew everything was going to be okay in this new chapter. They were ready to face whatever paths lay ahead, together. And for the viewers watching their journey unfold through every raw emotion, it was in this moment that she felt compelled to reach out. "Don't let fear lead your story," she would tell them through the screen. "Embrace your connections, they can change everything." So now, you two, don't wait for another moment. This is your time to act. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now. Your support fuels this journey. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this incredible transformation. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness the power of connection and love. You need to show your support now. Let us keep the heart of this community beating strong.